Film. Is it a movie? Film. Or a film? Film. Is it a movie?
Great movie.
Or a film?
Fascinating.
Is it a movie?
Love that movie.
Or a film?
Haven't heard of that
Is it a
film.
movie?
It's my favorite
Or a
movie.
film?
I'm a bit of a cinephile.
Hey, welcome back, MFers. You're listening to another episode of Film.
It's the podcast where we pick a flick and decide if it's a movie or a film.
See.
I'm Nate, and it's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
And I'm Terrill. And todos aclaman al clitoras!
That's not a language I speak.
I know earlier I said I wasn't going to do it in Spanish.
That Tu Mamá También?
Yes.
But you gave away that I was faking that. I was guessing. Great.
The illusion
I correctly pre-guessed.
Yes.
You asked me what my quote was. I didn't have my quote yet.
Yeah.
And then I guessed yours.
Yeah.
It's from Tu Mamá También.
Yes, it's
What's
from
the translation?
It means all hell the clit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
I mean, because it's another Alfonso Cuarón film, and
The women reproductive and male reproductive sex and all that. Yeah.
And mine, do you know it?
Yeah. Obviously, his stepbrother. Obviously, stepbrothers.
Yeah, we watched Children of Men twice this week, so I just decided to do a light quote so we can laugh a little bit.
Thank you.
Because it feels good to laugh.
It does.
We've got movie news before we talk about Children of Men, because we have not... There have been some trailers that have come out that we just haven't mentioned, because we've been enjoying talking about stuff we've been watching, and nothing that exciting. But... The Five Bloods.
Yeah, Spike Lee.
New Spike Lee joint from Netflix. This trailer, I would not be surprised if Spike cut it himself.
Yeah.
I feel like Netflix gives filmmakers a lot of creative control, and this trailer doesn't play like any trailer I can think of.
Yeah.
Really all over the place.
Yeah, shots of the musician like performing the song that's playing in the trailer, because it fits in with like the time period piece, and like this psychedelic background as well. This big bold red font that's in there, and just like this real grainy film look to it. Yeah,
and at least like 3 different aspect ratios throughout the point of the trailer. Yeah, it looks like something.
It looks like something Spike Lee would do. And I don't mean that in like, oh, this is predictable. I mean that in like a really exciting way. It looks exciting.
Yeah, Miracle at St. Anna was his last war movie.
I didn't watch that one.
It is not good. Okay. And it like stopped me from watching Spike Lee movies for a long time. So I was hesitant about this when it was announced, but the cast is great.
Yeah, the cast is good,
and the trailer sells me on it.
Yeah, there's a few people from The Wire in there.
Yeah, Clark Peters and Isaiah Whitlock. I mean, also Chadwick Boseman.
And also Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, from Last Five, and Delroy Lindo, who I've from going back and watching some Spike Lee stuff has appeared throughout.
Yeah, he's a regular.
Yeah, throughout Spike's joints.
Yeah. Did you know he was British?
What?
Yeah, he's British.
Damn.
Yeah.
They're all British.
All British.
All actors.
There were no more American actors. There never were.
Wow. And I really appreciated his performances and the variance of his characters that he plays. But knowing that none of them sound like him. Yeah. Wow. So yeah. It's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, it's a treasure hunt movie where they found like gold during war, and they set it aside and said, we'll come back for it. Yeah. And finally, as old men, they go back to find it.
Yeah, and maybe possibly Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
It's like
whoever that guy is.
Yeah, who's going to play old Chadwick?
Yeah.
Might be Chadwick.
Maybe.
It is Netflix. They've done it before.
True.
They have the technology. I liked the nod to Apocalypse Now, like right at the beginning of the trailer. Yeah. He's definitely going to be doing one of his telling a story, but also telling the story about stories about stories.
Yeah. Like
I wonder how much of the
like
archival footage. I wonder how much of the archival footage is going to be in the actual feature.
Maybe that'll like start his movie, because sometimes he like to start. He's like
or end that it.
Way. Yeah.
Black Klansman. Which the ending still is like one of the reasons why I haven't rewatched that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real close. It's real. It's reality. I mean, it's based on real events, and then
no, I'm talking about like the very end,
like the montage.
Yeah. Then specifically Heather Heyer's death. Is that her name? Might have already forgotten.
It's definitely Heather.
Yeah. So yeah, excited for that when it comes. And if the Oscars happen this year, it's hopefully
I
going
saw
to be
one tweet that was just like they're thinking about canceling it, and I was just like, God damn, no Oscars 2021. That's crazy.
Oh, I didn't see they were going to cancel it. I thought they were maybe
no, that wasn't like confirmed. I'm not on confirming it for you guys. No, that's just like buzz. It's the Oscar buzz.
Before we continue to Children of Men, a little follow-up to last week.
Yeah.
We talked about Jumanji. You hadn't seen Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
And we watched it right after we recorded.
We watched it right after we recorded.
What'd you think?
I thought it was funny.
Right? It's like
it's
as
funny.
Good as it could have been.
It's funny, yeah. It's funny. Once I got over the fact that they were just like, the game transformed and it is what it is. Once I got past like overthinking that aspect of it, it was funny. It was really funny. I mean, they're playing on The Rock being who The Rock is. Like he's perfectly cast to be that person, and they comment on it perfectly. And like the smolder thing is hilarious. And Kevin Hart is great. He's great. And like they are great together. I really do think they are a real dynamic duo together.
Yeah, they play well off each other.
They play well. And Jack Black though. Jack Black, though.
I mean, he's my favorite there.
Yeah.
And I think just the most talented performer.
Yeah, he's great.
Of all of them.
Yeah, because he has to embody being a teenage girl.
Yeah.
He does it really well.
And he does it, and it's not just like... I don't know. It feels more than cliche. Like, he makes her feel human by the end. Like, that character starts off... They do, like, the Breakfast Club thing. And the Freaky Friday thing.
Yeah, they're throwing in a lot.
So, like, that girl that he plays... If you haven't seen this movie, there's, like, a body swap component to it. Jack Black... Like, the girl starts off with, like, no depth. She's just, like, the superficial
shallow
teenage girl.
Popular... pretty girl, yeah.
But she goes through the whole arc
Yeah.
While Jack Black is playing her. Yeah. So Jack Black gets to do the whole... Oh, it's great. And she becomes a
better person.
A much better person.
Yeah, more well-rounded person. They all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I enjoyed Probably not going to focus a whole podcast on that one. No. But, yeah, as far as, like, reviving old franchises go.
Yeah, they did that pretty well. And cute little tie-in to the first one, I guess. Little nod to Robin Williams' character, Ellen Parrish. Yeah.
Yeah, the Jonas Brothers. Like, this is Alan's house. He built it. I'm just living here. Mm-hmm. It's like the reboot acknowledging that
he was
obviously
here.
that movie came first.
Yeah.
I watched over 25 movies this week. I'm going to only talk about one more of them. We watched it together. We previously mentioned it on this podcast.
I watched maybe like 5 movies. And they were all with you, I feel like. I watched most of the movies that I watched with you. Those
are 5 of my 28. Y Tu Mamá También. We had never seen before.
Yeah.
Same director as Children of Men, Alfonso Cuarón. It was really special.
Oh my God, it was so special.
Yeah.
It's so special. It's like, that's nuance. That's like, that movie. Oh man. Okay. So he's like painting this picture. He's showing us, it's like Roma, right? Where he's like showing us this story, but also like Mexico, right? Throughout the whole thing, it's like, it's Mexico, and it's like they pass something by, and it's important to tell what happened here and what would have happened if they were here like 5 years earlier, which doesn't really matter, but it's important because Mexico is
the backdrop.
Yeah, it's the backdrop.
Like, it's just a sexy road trip.
Yeah.
And anytime it gets like too sexy, I start thinking, sound's about to drop out, voiceover's about to come in, and the narrator just tells us like some fucked up story of something that happened to someone's relative. Yeah,
every time it did that, no lie, I thought something was wrong with the sound. It like, even like to the last one, I was just like, did the sound go out? Every time.
Yeah, it's
a weird cut in like silence.
I think it's really effective because it completely takes you out of the story you've been watching.
Yeah.
All the sexual tension and exploration and repressed feelings.
Yeah. I was expecting it to be exactly like a sexy road trip, but it was a sexy road trip, and
much more.
And then this movie is kind of like the opposite of Children of Men, where Children of Men, we'll talk about it more, but Children of Men throughout the whole movie is really bleak and really sad. And then it ends hopeful. And this one is just so full of energy, and it's exciting and it's sexy. And then it just ends like heartbreaking.
It's a downer ending.
Yeah, it's a downer ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, really cool to go back and watch one of his earlier movies and to see the progression, because you're right, he does do a similar thing in Roma, but without any voiceover.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a fan of voiceover in general, but it worked in Tu Mamá También, but I like how he kind of graduated and started figuring out ways to share information without just explicitly telling the audience this is this is that. Show don't tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, whew. Yeah.
Ooh,
like I said, watched over 25 movies, but that one has.
Yeah, that one stuck with me. Yeah. And we watched Children of Men and that one in the same day, so it was a roller coaster of a day.
Yeah.
Of happy and sad and happy.
It's everything. It's life.
Yeah, that's life. Yeah, that's life.
And that's what makes great filmmaking.
Yeah.
All right. So we already started talking about it, but let's play that trailer.
Yeah.
For Children of Men.
I can't really remember when I last had any hope. And I certainly can't remember when anyone else did either. Because really, since women stopped being able to have babies, what's left to hope for?
The world was stunned today by the death of Diego Ricardo, the youngest person on the planet. The youngest person on Earth was 18 years, 4 months, 20 days, 16 hours, and 8 minutes old.
The ultimate mystery. Why are women infertile? Some say it's genetic experiments, pollution. Why do you think we can't make babies anymore?
Doesn't matter. It's all over in 50 years. It's too late.
Move along! Move along!
Hello, Theo. How have you been? I'm sorry about the theatrics. Police have been a pain lately.
I haven't seen you for nearly 20 years.
I need your help. Not for me, a girl. I need to get her to the coast, past security checkpoints. It's hard for me to look at you. He had your eyes.
So why did you come to me?
I trust you.
Show him.
Now you know what's at stake.
We have to meet the boat.
What is this boat?
The Human Project have sent a boat.
The Human Project?
Yes, the greatest minds in the world working for a new society.
Your baby is the miracle the whole world has been waiting for.
We will find a way to get you to the Human Project, I promise you.
We're almost there, Keith. We're almost there.
Children of Men is a 2006 dystopian science fiction action thriller. Directed and co-written by Alfonso Cuarón. The screenplay is based on P.D. James's 1992 novel, The Children of Men. It was credited to 5 writers, but apparently Clive Owen made uncredited contributions to the screenplay as well.
Cool.
Usually when it's like 5 guys write a screenplay, it's not good.
Yeah, it's usually a mess.
Yeah,
and usually because it went through
one
like
of the
revisions.
movies I watched this past week was Scoob.
You watched Scoob?
Yeah. I don't need to go into it, but...
Nice. I want to watch Scoob.
Do you, though?
I do. I think it looks really cute. Don't ruin it for me. Okay. Don't ruin it for me.
Young Shaggy is voiced by Young Sheldon.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that has like 5 or 6 people. It's like... But this...
Yeah.
I mean, it's
a very...
I don't want to bury the lead, but I think Children of Men is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't use that word lightly.
Yeah, it really hits everything that it's supposed to hit.
Yeah. Right?
It really does. And it's a very like deep subject. So I can understand a lot of them pulling in maybe a lot of writers. Mm-hmm. So to get like different like points of view or like just like expertise and just how to like, you know, put this message out the right way, like word it, how to tell this story correctly. You know, I understand that, you know what I mean? Because it came out properly.
Yeah, this movie came out when I was 13 years old. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I guess when I was like 14, seeing it in Blockbuster and like being aware of the chatter that it was this great masterpiece. Mm-hmm. And I'm being a fan of like dystopian sci-fi thriller.
Yeah.
I rented it. And like I watched like the first 10 minutes and like wanted to like it so much, but then was like struggling and I was too young, I guess.
Right.
And then revisited it years later and was like, I was stupid.
I was young. I don't remember the first time that I watched this movie. I don't know what age I was or anything. I just know I watched it and I really loved it and it made me cry. I like certain things you don't like. You might not remember everything, but you remember the way it makes you feel. Mm-hmm. And I would just remember feeling like wowed about it the first time I watched it.
Yeah. All right, let's start.
Yeah, and that wow is still there. Mm-hmm. It's still there.
We start with just audio of the news.
Yeah.
Some exposition.
Mm-hmm.
We get to hear about this world that Children of Men is set in. It's 2027.
7 years away.
There have been 18 years of global human infertility and depression.
Mm-hmm.
The world is on the brink of collapse and humanity faces extinction. We're in the United Kingdom, which is, as we learn, one of the only nations that still has a functioning government.
Yeah.
Just all around the world, just chaos. Including in the United Kingdom, where there's government. It's a fascist, totalitarian government with lots of asylum seekers fleeing plague and coming to the United Kingdom, but then not being welcome.
Yeah.
So this is all on the news, because once the picture comes in, we see a bunch of people in a cafe watching the screen.
Yeah.
This is a great opening shot.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to have a hard time on this podcast. I'm just really, and that's a great shot.
And that's great. And that's good.
This is the third movie we're doing that was shot by Emmanuel Lubezki.
Mm-hmm.
We did The Revenant and Ali.
Previously. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Easily one of the greatest cinematographers living or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Chivo, as they call him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gives great color. It's like a great...
what he does with light is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And it really spoils you for anything else you're going to watch. So just this first image of just all the people crammed into this tiny cafe.
Yeah.
Anytime in a movie when people are watching like a screen, and that's what we see while we're watching a screen, it's has a lot of power in that image. Just immediately causing you to identify with the people.
Yeah.
But then this turns out on its head.
Yeah.
In a great way.
Yeah, very quickly. He gets his coffee and he heads out and... Well, actually, while he's getting his coffee, we hear news about Diego, right?
Yeah.
Baby Diego.
Diego Ricardo. Baby Diego, who was an 18-year-old.
Yes.
But the youngest person alive.
He's the world's baby.
Yes.
The last person born. Was. Yeah,
was. The news is he was assassinated.
Yeah, this is such a great concept, like, thing. It's like, of course, so he is the youngest person, and so he's turned into a celebrity. Mm-hmm. For no other reason than being the youngest person, right?
He's the last one.
He has no choice in the matter. He's a celebrity. The news is like, it was thrust upon him, and he struggled with it his whole life. So what happened was, someone wanted an autograph, and he was like, no. And apparently he spit on the person, and then that person killed him. Yeah. Right? And then a mob then turns and kills that person. Yeah. It makes it's so close to reality, it's crazy. I can see that happening, the youngest person in the world becoming a celebrity like that, and just being like, shit, well, I mean, I don't want it. Mm-hmm. And now I'm getting killed for it. And now they're killing him for it. Yeah. Yeah.
So Theo, played by Clive Owen, our protagonist, gets his coffee, leaves, and we just get like a peek of the outside world and more just exposition. Like we see propaganda on like video screens throughout the city.
All I can like see is like all the smog and all the like exhaust coming out from these like bikes, these motorbikes, and I'm just like, oh, they're just like breathing in all this pollution.
Yeah. And a bomb goes off in the cafe that Theo was just standing in. If he hadn't just left, he would have been dead.
Yeah. And so the explosion goes off, and then the ringing sets in. Yeah. And there's this lady screaming. The camera is like pulling into her, and then it cuts to black.
And the title, Children of Men.
Children of Men. And then all you hear is the ringing. Mm-hmm. And the ringing continues throughout the next scene as well.
Right. Yeah. So just by causing us to identify with all these people in the cafe, being like, okay, this is us. Yeah. And then just killing them. It's
so cool. Yeah. Oh. The cut to the title card is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and it only gets worse from there. He's going to his office. Yeah. He works for the government. He's a cog in the machine. Mm-hmm. Works for the Ministry of Energy. Yes. He's a cynical bureaucrat. So as he's going through his office, we hear the tinnitus ringing.
Yeah. It's still ringing. People at his job are like crying and watching the news. They're still talking about Baby Diego. They're talking now about who now takes the mantle of being the youngest person. It's now a woman who is only a month older.
Yeah. Yeah. 18 and 6 months or something. He goes to his boss and says, I've been affected deeply by this death of Baby Diego, only after like seeing his coworkers like really having a hard time. Yeah. He's lying.
Yeah, he's not really feeling shit. He
gets to leave.
Yeah, it's an excuse, right?
I mean, he was he almost killed.
He was.
That's gotta affect you.
Yeah, but he seems pretty calm. He seems pretty not bothered.
Well, just in no mood to do his work for the government today. Mm-hmm. So he gets on the train, and there's screens on the train, and we see more propaganda.
Report illegal immigrants. Yeah. And you just see like people living in poverty and like below poverty, and they're like attacking the trolley that he's on.
Yeah. Just the way the camera will just glance out a window of the bus.
Yeah.
Just like, it doesn't stay focused on Clive Owen the whole time. It just like gets
it'll
distracted.
Just pan over and then it'll pan back.
And there's like a whole other movie happening.
Yeah,
outside. Like right outside.
Yeah.
But that's not the one that we watch, but it's just a texture of Children of Men.
Yeah, this movie has such great texture.
Yeah, and it's just for a science fiction movie. I mean, I read that whole paragraph. Like, we're never told that information just in a block. It's you get it in pieces. Mm-hmm. It's just expert world building. Mm-hmm. Really immersive. So he gets picked up at the train station by Michael Caine.
Yeah,
playing Jasper. Michael Caine in long white hair, John Lennon glasses, and general John Lennon demeanor.
Yeah, got a cardigan on. He's cozy.
It picks him up.
Mm-hmm. He's a chipper old man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love his car. It's like yellow, but there's like been parts that have been replaced. So there's like some black parts.
Yeah. It's not like a red door.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a pull my finger guy.
Yeah.
He's that type of guy.
Yeah, he wants Theo to pull his finger. Theo doesn't.
Pull my finger quickly.
So he pulls it himself and farts.
Yeah.
It's the simple pleasures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie just has like pothead Michael Caine making fart jokes.
Yeah.
And it's also like one of the bleakest movies in the world.
Yeah. And he's probably so happy because he doesn't live in the city. Mm-hmm. He lives out in the woods in a hidden area, which is really smart to keep it hidden because he's kind of out in the woods, very vulnerable.
Yeah. As they're driving to his place, the camera does one of the glances out the window and we see a truck full of refugees pass. Mm-hmm. They call them Fugees in this movie. Mm-hmm. And it looks like the Holocaust or current day, present day.
Present day.
No, I guess we're not openly transporting. No, just openly transporting.
Yeah.
Do it in hiding. Yeah. Real depressing shit.
Yeah.
But then we get a fart joke, so...
Yeah. Balance.
Yeah. When they get to Jasper's place, the camera does, like, a trip around the room, I guess. We get to see, like, some of Jasper's belongings. And that informs us about his character.
And old pictures and awards and stuff.
We learn he was a former political cartoonist.
Yeah.
Very celebrated political cartoonist. Mm-hmm. Now he grows and sells marijuana. Yeah.
His wife was also a photojournalist that was captured and tortured, which left her wheelchair bound and mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he cares after her and grows and sells pot. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite Michael Caine roles. Mm-hmm. I feel like he always plays like these distinguished gentlemen, professors, butlers, just gentlemen of high society.
Playboys.
But to get him to just be like a hippie, an old hippie, essentially.
Yeah.
It's fun. We also, among the newspaper clippings, we see a picture that includes Clive Owen's Theo, but we also recognize Julianne Moore and a child, a baby.
Child. Yeah.
So there might be some background to our cynical bureaucrat protagonist.
Yeah, get a quick peek.
Michael Caine offers him some strawberry cough.
Right.
Which is a strain
of
marijuana.
Weed. Yeah. And while they're smoking, he goes in to tell this joke about the Human Project. And that gets Theo up in arms and he gets very cynical about it and starts just blathering about it. And then Michael Keaton's just like, I'm trying to tell a joke, man. That's all I'm trying to do. Like, I'm not trying to get like political or anything. And do you know the joke? Like,
essentially, there are a bunch of people wondering why there aren't any babies anymore.
Yeah.
And he says, I don't know, while he eats on the wing of a stork.
Yeah, he's eating stork.
Yeah.
And stork delivers babies.
Yeah.
So they're eating the thing that, delivers the babies.
The next scene, Theo's waking up in his own apartment.
Mm-hmm.
It's small.
Yeah.
It's a small studio apartment.
Yeah. With a nice view.
With a nice, well, it's high up.
It's high up.
I don't think what the views of is great because once he leaves the apartment, like even if like I guess the transition from Jasper's like big wide open country house to Theo waking up in his studio apartment is kind of jarring, and it's like, oh, this is a much smaller space.
Yeah.
But then when he leaves the apartment, like right outside his building are just cages of people.
Yeah, and people being like ripped out of their homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrible and horrifying, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Be grateful for the little bit of space that Theo had.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, he's living very well.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's heading out, the camera does this whole aside. It's not because like Theo isn't taking in the sights around him. He lives in the world. He's just moving through it.
Yeah, he's part of it.
But the camera's interested in showing us the scenes unfolding on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Next thing we know, he's kidnapped.
That's his thing. Just showing so much of like what's going on in the world behind the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's kidnapped.
Yes, he gets a bag over his head and thrown into a truck.
Thrown into a van.
Mm-hmm. Big theatrics here.
Oh, yeah.
Big theatrics for like pretty much nothing. Because once they get him to the spot and he has the bag on his head and they're talking to him and there's a blinding light and all that. Her name is Julia in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Julia pretty much reveals herself right away.
Julianne Moore plays Julian.
Yes.
It's probably written for her.
Yeah.
Or no, that was a character. It was a book. So maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she instructs them that they can take off.
Take off the bag and turn off the lights, and
she even walks him out of the interrogation box.
Yeah. These two are very familiar, and she obviously trusts him very much. Yeah, even though she had to like put a bag over his head.
Yeah, we learned that the organization that she's working with are called the Fishes.
Mm-hmm.
They're a militant immigration rights group. So she like walks him out of the interrogation box.
They're in like this birdhouse, right? Or maybe they're just in like a
shed,
or it's like I just hear like
shed,
a lot of
but with
pigeons
with newspaper covering the glass, so the light looks fucking beautiful.
Yeah,
and then once they walk out of that, they're in like a whole like warehouse almost.
Yeah,
and it's like once again the small space that they were just in, and then they open up and they're in this whole wider world right outside.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of that, a lot of imagery that's like, oh, people exist in the world, and the world they're the fabric of the world and spaces. I don't know. It's a masterpiece.
Julia needs transit papers for a girl. She doesn't really say who the girl is or what's it for, just that she needs it.
Well, they say she's a refugee.
Right.
And she offers Theo money because he has a cousin who's a government minister, and he can probably procure the papers.
Yeah.
Theo's only in it for the money. In fact, he actually says no.
Yeah.
He turns her down.
She's like, yeah, sure, you don't need the money. She knows he needs the money.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, after that little conversation, after that little talk, they drop him off.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to do the bag over the head again.
Yeah, they give him the lost dog paper and say, if you change your mind, post this notice on the bulletin at your train station. And it's a lost dog flyer, but that's like their secret code. So that's fun. Then he's in a Is it a Bentley?
I think so. It's a real fancy car.
I wrote down Bentley, right? I don't know anything about cars, but for some reason in my head, I was like, that's a Bentley.
That's a Bentley. I don't know.
So his ride through town, I guess he got picked up by his cousin. It's like his cousin's car or driver.
Like, his cousin's driver. It's like, he got picked up by a driving service.
So there's like ways that person driving to a place scenes are usually shot.
Mm-hmm.
You see the person in the car. You see the camera's like outside the windshield or out on one side of the window. We don't really get that. Instead, we watch the street as the car is just like a part of it.
Yeah.
And it just like blends into traffic.
It's so stark though, because like the car is so pristine and it's white. It's cream actually.
Right.
And everyone else is like in these drabby colors.
There's not many other cars on the
there's not many cars
There's
on the road.
some what are they called? The three-wheel pushy things.
And I think the perfect song is playing. I'm not familiar with this song. Crimson. Yeah, King Crimson. But I think the song is perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect scoring for it because the progression of the song is like going up.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening literally in the movie.
Yeah, so you see the Bentley just trying to get through. I'm just calling it a Bentley.
Okay.
That's a Bentley. Even if it's not a Bentley, it's a Bentley.
Yeah, it has a nice grill and that little statue on the front.
It's like trying to drive through crowds of people.
Mm-hmm.
But the camera, like, it's on like a circle, and the camera goes the other way around the circle.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see like protesters, some demonstrations happening, and the police. It's not a pretty sight.
No.
But then he gets to his cousin's place, and that's a pretty sight.
Yeah.
His cousin's got a nice place.
He has a really, really nice place. He is like living in the clouds. There's something about his place that reminds me of like Adrian Veidt. He kind of reminds me of Adrian Veidt.
Oh yeah.
Watchmen.
It's like overseeing the whole city.
Yeah, and he has those big dogs.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he has those big dogs.
His cousin runs a state-sponsored collection of salvaged art called Arc of the Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Michelangelo's David.
Yeah, the real thing.
Yeah, missing a leg.
Yeah.
But it's still David.
It's humongous.
And his cousin's complaining about like how they couldn't get this piece of art, but they had to settle for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, his whole place is full of like classic art.
And Theo is talking about how his mom had that statue in her house, but it was smaller and it was a lamp. It was not real.
This whole scene's like wild. They're like eating dinner.
Yeah, they're eating dinner.
There's lots of bottles of wine.
They have servers.
They're being served.
Mm-hmm. His son is doing this thing. I don't know what he's doing. It looks like
a future technology thing.
Yeah, it's like future. He's doing it with his hands. It kind of looks like there's a cube on the screen, like a Rubik's Cube, like he's building something or programming something. It's weird. And he's so focused on it. He's not even like in the room with them.
Yeah. Theo's sitting right in front of Picasso's Guernica painting. And also behind the cousin out the window, you see that pig.
That pig.
It's the Pink Floyd Animals album cover art. The pig and the smokestacks, which itself is a reference to Animal Farm, George Orwell. It's just like I think that's about it for the art references that I've caught. Oh, there's the Venus thing later, but just a lot of references to art and artworks and the Bible throughout this whole masterpiece, because it's a masterpiece. It works out.
Yeah, it works out.
Get the papers, but only a specific kind of paper where the refugee needs an escort.
Yeah.
Like, and the escort has to be Theo.
Yeah, it has to be Theo. Theo has to do it. So
it's not quite what the fishes wanted, but it's what they get.
It's what they get. And I like the way this scene ends, because he asks him, like, how do you, like, he says, like, in a million years or something, there's going to be nothing left. What keeps you going? And then
he says there's going to be no one here, no one left to even look at this art.
Yeah. And he just goes, I don't think about it.
Yeah. As he takes a sip from his glass of wine.
Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, that's the rich, right? Like, they get to, like, separate themselves, right? They get to live higher up and not think about it, you know?
Yeah. It's a good poke at neoliberalism. So Theo posts the lost dog thing. He ends up setting up a meeting with Chiwetel Ejiofor's character
Lucas,
who says Julian couldn't make it. And they make the agreement. Theo's going to escort Key in exchange for money.
Yeah, for someone who said earlier that they didn't need the money, now they need the money and more.
So there's like the whole scene in the racetrack, but I didn't write any notes for that.
I didn't really see the significance in it other than he likes to gamble and he likes to drink. He likes to smoke.
He's an alcoholic. It's a flawed protagonist. Yeah. So the next thing I have is he's we get the bus ride.
Yeah, we get the bus ride.
He leaves the racetrack and he's led with the woman who found the dog, who has the dog.
Yeah.
By the way, she was the person to set up the meeting. He follows her onto the bus. She points up because it's London. There's 2 decks. He goes upstairs and Julian's waiting for him there.
Yeah.
This is where we learn that they had a child together.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we saw the picture in Jasper's place.
Yeah, but now they talk about it. And I like the way that it comes up because it comes up pretty naturally. Just by Theo looking at her. She's just like, I can't look at you. You have his eyes. You know? They talk about it in a real intimate way and not in a way where they have to say everything because they have to give us everything.
We learn later that the son died during a flu pandemic.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring it down. This movie predicted that was in 2008.
Yeah.
So, and I guess what we're experiencing now isn't really the flu.
No. Similar.
Nope. This movie has nothing to say about our actual lives or our actual world. It's only about this make-believe world. They get off. It's their stop.
Yeah.
Next thing I have is they're all in the car. We meet the gang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Luke is driving with Julian in the passenger seat.
The passenger seat.
And
you don't know how many times in this movie where a car parked and then I was waiting for it.
Oh, because the driver's on the other side.
Yeah, the driver's on the other side, and then I'd be like, oh, they're over there.
Yeah, definitely the most backwards thing about the society that we see in this movie. What the fuck is the driver doing on the right side?
God damn it.
And in the backseat, we meet Key and Miriam, who is amazingly played by the same actress who does Mrs. Trunchbull in Matilda, which I didn't notice until the second time we watched it this week.
That's wow. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It makes so, how could I look at this lady and I'd be like, she looks familiar. She's the lady from Matilda.
I definitely have like an image of Miss Trunchbull yelling, like burned into my brain.
She's just like so different. And honestly, I was so focused on her having dreads that like her face almost didn't matter. So
it's not like appropriation dreads. It's like dirty hair. It's no access to water dreads.
So what are Patrick dreads? Because those are like wild, dirty too.
Whose?
Patrick, the he's one of the fishes.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the same.
Yeah. Okay.
They're activists.
Well,
Well, they said I didn't give Michael Caine dreads.
True. They get yeah. Good. I'm picturing it now. And
I just don't think anyone in this movie is like styled. I don't think fashion is a thing.
I think there's an apocalyptic style.
Yeah, but it seems to be more based on like what's available than trying to have a look.
Yeah, it's not as styled as like say The Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a full car, and they're driving towards Canterbury.
Yeah.
We get some more background about Theo through Julian because now that we know they have a history.
Yeah.
She says that Theo used to be an activist too back in the day. Pretty hardcore one.
Yeah.
I like the story she tells about they had like a standoff in this building. The cops were outside, and what Theo does is he invites the cops in for coffee.
Yeah.
Spikes the coffee with ketamine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love the back and forth because
Poisons the cops.
She's telling this story, and he is just like, I was just trying to get laid. You know, he's just being so cool, too cool for school about it.
It's not even that. He's like so far from the idealist activist that he was in the story Julian's telling. He's just completely burnout, cynical, alcoholic, wants everyone to shut up so he can nap.
Yeah. He just wants to nap. I love as soon as he gets in the car, he's just like, are we doing any sing-alongs? All right, well, I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah.
And they do like this really cute ping pong trick.
It's a little ping pong parlor trick where they blow the ping pong ball into each other's mouths.
Yeah, and they can only do it with each other. She said she tried to do it with 100 other people. Gross. And he's the only one that can do it successfully.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like to picture Clive Owen and Julianne Moore practicing this. Though I wouldn't be surprised if it was CGI somehow.
I think it was CGI.
Yeah. It looks hard to do.
It looks really hard to do.
But I like picturing them practicing. Yeah. Even if it was CGI. Key is not... She's not impressed. She's not impressed, with Theo. Apparently Julian had been speaking very highly of this man. Because she knew the old Theo. Yeah. And Key is like, he's not suave. Yeah. So they're doing the ping pong bit, and everything's all hunky dory. Yeah. Until
there's a burning car.
It's coming down the road. Yeah. Perpendicular to the car that our characters are driving in. Mm-hmm. And they could avoid it if Lucas hit on the gas, but he's like, no, I can't make it. So he takes the brakes.
Yeah, he doubts himself,
and the car stops, blocking the road. Mm-hmm. And then an angry mob emerges from the woods.
Yeah, it's an ambush. Total ambush.
A whole mob, people throwing stuff, and then you got two guys on a motorcycle with guns.
And in a very surprising fashion, Julia gets shot.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Blood
all over her.
Blood all over. I feel like she either gets shot in the chest or in the neck. Because all the blood is up here by the neck. Mm.
At first you think, oh shit, they're going to lose control of the car. But then you remember that Lucas is the one driving because they're in England.
Exactly.
In this fucked up dystopia.
They're trying to... Theo's trying to put pressure on the wound, trying to hold her. And Miriam is trying to, I don't know, put thoughts and prayers on her. Mm-hmm. And they only get away because Theo kicks open the door. Yeah, he kicks open the door and it hits the gunman on the motorcycle. Mm-hmm. And they both go flying off. Yeah. And they're able to escape. Yeah.
They escape, but they're stopped by the police.
Yes.
Which shouldn't be a problem because they have their papers. Yeah. They're British citizens, but...
they have a dead body in the car.
Mm. But, but Luke... wait, is it Luke or Lucas?
Lucas.
He kills the police.
Yeah, he shoots them.
Shoots them.
Yeah.
They could have been fine.
They could have been fine, yeah. And so, no one in the car really understands what's going on, but they all get back in the car. Mm-hmm. Well, Theo's the only one that gets out, but they get back in the car and they drive off to a safe house.
Yeah, well, they make one stop on the way in the middle of the woods to hide Julian's body and send her off. And I like this scene because, well, we see more of Miriam being religious, kind of shamanistic.
Yes, chanting.
Or maybe Hinduism, maybe. I'm not
Something.
sure.
A mix of things.
Because she places the leaf thing on Julian's temple.
She's like shaking her hands over her.
Her and Key are participating in this ritual in the background while we follow Theo dealing with the death of his former lover in his own way, which is taking a swig from his bottle. Yeah. Why? Because he's an alcoholic.
He's an alcoholic.
And then he just breaks down.
Yeah, he goes. I think
this is Clive Owen's best performance.
This is some acting. This is acting. Yeah, because he seems fine, and then he takes a drink. He takes out his cigarette, and then he looks at the lighter, and then he just breaks behind a tree.
He like falls into a fetal position almost, leaning against the tree.
Yeah.
But
Lucas
calls everyone back, so he pulls himself together. Then we get to the safe house. A lot of fishes.
Yes.
And some cats.
And some cats and some dogs.
I didn't even mention Jasper's cat.
Yeah. Jasper's
got a comfy cat.
Yeah, he has a cat and a dog. Lots of cats and dogs in pairs in this one.
So Theo wants to get the fuck out of there, get back to London.
Yeah,
but Lucas says it's too dangerous. The police are looking for us. We'll try to work something out tomorrow for you to go home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that it's noted that the dogs like him and they don't like anyone. Mm. Yeah. It's a character thing. I guess if you're like a good person, dogs like you, right?
It's like Knives Out.
Yeah. They're a good judge of character.
So there's like all the top leadership of the Fishes organization.
They're going to vote for a new leader, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Theo's not a part of this, though. He's being watched by one of them who's instructed to watch Theo. Mm-hmm. Gives him some clean clothes. And then Theo's told that Key is in the barn and wants to see him.
Yeah.
And, the scene in the barn.
The scene in the barn is really beautiful, right?
Yeah. Key is in the back of the barn surrounded by cows. Mm-hmm. And she tells, as Theo approaches, talks about how cows have 8 tits, but the machines only fit 4 tits. So what they do is they cut off
the other tits.
Some of the
just
tits.
Like buzz them off.
They're using the words
tits.
Yeah. They're not mine. I would have said udders, but they talk about tits instead.
Yeah.
Well, because then we get the line where Theo's like, "Is that why you brought me in here to talk about tits?"
Yeah.
I like how he just brushes it off, even though that has like huge symbolic importance to the movie. And it's just like talking, I don't know if you've heard, but we live in a society.
Yes.
And that society, instead of making machines that fit the cow, they change the cows to fit the machines.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Our society isn't actually built for all humans. Mm-hmm. It shapes and molds humans to work.
It's not even built for the world. Yeah.
For the man.
It's not built for nature. And so, I mean, she is just like, no, that's not what I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And she undresses. Yes. And at first he's like, whoa, don't do that.
Yeah,
but then
you see the bump.
Yeah, he sees the belly. Sees her belly.
Remember, this is the world where 18 years of infertility worldwide.
Yeah.
So to see a pregnant woman is...
the chances, right?
Yeah, just a miracle.
Yeah.
And the fact that this scene takes place in the barn, there's obvious parallels to...
Mary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, you mentioned Venus earlier.
Yeah, so. It's like that painting.
Yeah, she poses herself in a way where she's posed like Venus. And yeah, he's amazed, but that moment is so beautiful because it's scored with this beautiful religious operatic singing that goes in between operatic singing and like composed score.
Yeah,
but that moment is cut short when Lucas walks in,
barges in, and.
Yeah, it disrupts the moment.
Yeah, he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
but Key says he had a right to know.
Yeah.
Also, Key reveals that Julian told her not to trust anyone except for Theo.
Yeah, she said, "If anything go wrong, only trust him."
Mm-hmm.
It's really important.
So now we get to see a bit of the Fishes meeting because they're trying to decide what to do. The original plan was to get Key to the Human Project, which is the scientific group that is trying to cure infertility. Mm-hmm. But now that they're all fugitives because of Luke killing the cops.
Yeah, Julia popped up on TV. She popped up on the news.
Yeah, terrorist organization leader killed.
they're like, it's only a matter of time before they figure out who else was in the car with her.
Yeah. So Luke is trying to talk Key into staying.
Yeah.
With the fishes.
Mm-hmm. And they all have they all agree with each other, but all for like different reasons. And just like there's this one lady that's just like, this baby will be like our political flag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Key doesn't want her baby to be used as this political thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so Theo, the outsider, is just like, he yells out, she needs proper care. Like, she needs a doctor.
Yeah.
Like,
he says you got to make it public.
Yeah, go public with it.
Everyone just looks at him.
Yeah, they pretty much just shit all over that idea and pretty much say everything that could go wrong, which is very probable. And like, they'll take the baby away and give her to a black posh mom. You know what I mean? Like an English mom, and
try to dress.
They'll raise the baby.
Yeah, because the fact that the first baby in 18 years is coming from a refugee wouldn't suit the political agendas of the government.
Mm-hmm.
Theo's kind of walked out, escorted out of the meeting.
Yeah.
But we see from outside of the camera doing one of its things that Luke is elected the new leader of the fish.
Mm-hmm.
We also learn from Theo kind of spying the guys on the bike come in.
Yeah.
The guys on the bike that murdered Julian have arrived.
And it's a familiar face. It's Patrick. He was there earlier when Theo was first kidnapped.
Mm.
Yeah. And he is very disheveled and upset because his cousin, who was on the bike with him, I don't know who was driving or who was shooting, doesn't matter, is seriously hurt.
Yeah. That's not how the plan was supposed to go. So there's this whole plot where apparently Julian's death was orchestrated by the fish so that Luke could become in charge because they have different ideologies.
Yeah.
Julian is peaceful, but Luke feels otherwise.
Yeah, you need violence to beat fire for fire, pretty much.
So now being aware of this information, Theo rushes into Key's room to wake her and Miriam, who, by the way, is a midwife.
Yes,
we find out.
Yeah, I wrote down wet nurse. I don't know what the difference is, but I'm sure there is one.
Yeah, I'm not aware of the particular.
I don't know why I would say wet nurse, but mid nurse she is. But yeah, he wakes them up, and Miriam's first instinct is to like go downstairs and ask for help, and he muzzles her. And without much hesitation, Key is just like, hey, I'm going to go with him. You can stay here. So she's all ready to leave, like, even Miriam behind.
Yeah.
For Theo because of Julia.
Yeah. They sneak through. It's a whole escape. We have to go in detail.
Very stealth.
Yeah.
He pretty much takes all the keys out of the cars and like some wiring so like they can't be followed.
Yep.
But the car that they take doesn't start as well.
Yeah.
And so Theo has to get out and push
it. Yeah. And get stuck in the mud.
Yeah, it's really close pursuit.
That's I mean, we're talking about high stakes movies all month, trying to raise the stakes every week. This is almost as high as it gets. We'll see next week if we can top it. But and in every single like action that Theo's trying to take, there's at least 3 obstacles in the way, and they only ever. If they make it out, it's just by a sliver. It's
so close. And honestly, they only really make it out because they can't shoot at them because they can't afford to hit Key.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they need her alive.
Mm-hmm.
So they escape and they hide out at Jasper's place.
Yeah, they go to Jasper's. Jasper, who is like sound asleep. But he has like rat poison by him, so it kind of looks like he committed suicide. So there's like this moment where Theo's walking up to him and it's just like slowly putting his hands out, and then he wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's kind of pissed. Jasper's kind of like, "What the fuck?"
We learned that Key wants to name her baby Frowley.
Yeah, Frowley.
We got a little moment.
Yeah.
Where Theo doesn't think that's a great name.
Yeah.
And they make plans.
Yeah, they make plans.
Jasper actually initiates the plans.
Yeah.
They decide,
he's very excited.
Yeah, they decide they got a board. They're gonna follow through with what Julian wanted, which is to hand Key over to the Human Project. Mm-hmm. They have a ship called the Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which arrives offshore from a refugee camp
in Bexhill.
Bexhill on Sea. So they decide we got to get Key there.
Yeah.
And Jasper knows a border guard at the camp because he's one of his clients.
Yeah.
He sells pot to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Hey, I can get Sid, that's his name, to smuggle you into Bexhill if you pretend to be refugees."
Yeah, it's a pretty wild plan because
that just might work.
Yeah, they didn't want to go there because it's a camp, but they have to break in order to get to the pier. Who smuggles people
into camp? Usually, it's the other way around.
Yeah, they have to get smuggled in and through it.
Some bad news though. The fishes discover Jasper's house.
Yeah. Yeah. And he has this sound system.
Yeah. So Jasper tells the gang to get going without him. Yeah. And that he'll hold him off.
Yeah, he'll hold him off. He tells him where to go. And he tells him, when you see Sid, say, "Sid, you're a fascist.
You're a fascist pig."
Yeah, you're a fascist pig.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the passcode.
They flee.
Yeah, they flee. And they watch off from the hills.
Yeah, and they get to see the scene, which is Jasper being surrounded by men with guns.
Yeah, trying to charm them with his
asking them to pull his finger.
Yeah, terrible humor. Yeah. I was like, he's like, I talk my way out of my way out of worse, and this is how he talks his way out of it, by saying, "Pull my finger."
Yeah, they don't pull his finger; they pull their fingers on the trigger.
Yes,
and murder Jasper.
Yeah,
which Miriam and Theo witness, but Key is still in the car. When they get back to the car, Key asks, "Is Jasper okay?"
Yeah,
and Theo says, "Yeah, he's fine. Let's go."
The echoing of the bullets when Jasper's getting shot is so harrowing. It's it's the sound of nature, but also you could see how that is playing in Theo's mind, and it's just dun 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 dun. Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Yeah. And yeah, he's very, very hurt. Doesn't want to be touched by Miriam.
Right.
Yeah. And because Miriam earlier said she believes in everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So now he's like, what the fuck was that for? Tell me why that? And she's still it happened for a reason. It's part of the bigger picture, and it is all part of the bigger picture here.
They get to an abandoned school, which is their meeting place with Sid. They get there a little early, I guess. Mm-hmm. Of course, I guess all the schools are abandoned because the youngest person on Earth is 18 years old.
No one's in school anymore. Teachers are just about obsolete. Well, unless you're a professor, I would say. But even after a certain point, that is obsolete as well.
So the school has... nature has pretty much reclaimed the building. It's partially flooded. There's vines growing inside the building, and I love the shot of just the deer walking past Theo in the hallway.
Yeah,
it's don't mind me. I'm a deer indoors.
Yeah. And then we get this nice scene between Miriam and Theo. Which explains, gives you a little more into the perspective of Miriam, who she was when all of this was happening.
Yeah,
and she was a midwife. You said she was a midwife, and she started to notice the disparity in birth rates, right? And then
a lot of miscarriages.
Were happening, and then. No births were scheduled for several months.
Yeah, and she knew people around the world who were also midwives, and they were all experiencing the same thing. And, it's really paints the picture of when the infertility started.
Yeah,
Like how that must have been.
Yeah, and Theo just goes, you were there at the beginning, and you'll be there to see through. You'll be there at the end.
Meanwhile, this whole thing is shot beautifully. They're like in a classroom, and there's a glass, but there's a break in the glass. And Key is on a swing set, framed perfectly center in the hole in the glass.
Yeah.
So you just see like glass shards, and then Key represents like the last hope, just swinging.
Swinging, yeah.
But it looks like she's like gonna almost like swing into the jagged edge of the glass, just like visually. It's just like the one little glimmer of hope.
Yeah. It's
so good. Sid appears.
Sid is here.
Or rather, a cop car pulls up. So Theo approaches and calls him a fascist pig.
Yeah.
And Sid takes out his billy club.
Yeah. I was going to say baton.
Baton, yeah. And
acts like he's going to hit him because he's a asshole.
Because he is a fascist
pig.
He is
a fascist pig. And he's like, gotcha. And then you can see how Sid and Jasper got along. Their sense of humor.
Yeah, Sid pulling Jasper's finger.
Yeah.
Jasper pretending to be scared that Sid's going to hit him.
Yeah.
Oh, they
must have had a ball. Arrest him. You know what I mean? I'm going to take you in one day. Ha, ha, ha.
So Sid drives them, and he escorts them onto a bus.
Yeah.
That's headed towards Bexhill. And Sid tells them instructions about a Romanian woman who has a 3-legged dog who they'll meet once they get inside. Will be waiting by a statue.
Key also, perfect timing, starts to have contractions.
Everything happens for a reason.
Right? There's the tension is like so building so much because you're just like, this is not the place to like go into labor at all. Nope. And it gets worse from here, right? Because they're in that back of the truck, and then he escorts them out onto the bus.
Yeah.
Right? So he was being cool with them, but like once he gets out and lets them out, he has to be a dick again.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And she's like still going through it.
Having to hide it from anyone because Miriam and Theo are the only people who can know that she's pregnant.
Yeah. And they get on the bus and they drive off, and it's getting worse.
Oh, this bus. Yeah. She's having painful contractions.
Yeah.
Miriam's sitting next to her trying to console her. And as this is happening, we just get a bus tour of fascist regime.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
More people in cages. Some bodies just laid out on the ground.
And
people being harassed. It's heart-wrenching stuff that's happening not too far away from where we're recording this podcast.
While they're on the bus talking, Theo asks about the Human Project and like, do they know we're coming? And Miriam's just like, no, not really. We have no way of communicating with them. We only communicated through mirrors.
Yeah.
Which means it's kind of like telephones. So a person tells a person, tells a person, tells a person, and that person will tell us. But since Julia was the mirror and she's no longer with us, they have zero way of contacting them to make sure that this plan goes through. They're kind of just relying on faith, right? Faith and like chance, which doesn't sit well with Theo.
Yeah, we have this. We're really depending on these people, and you didn't even ever meet them.
Yeah, he didn't ever meet them. Also, in the Jasper scene, there was like just like this great, it's probably throwaway, but it was just like him talking about Theo as a character, as a person, where he was just talking about like how Theo had faith, but he lost it to chance, and then there's so much of this that is just chance. And
in order for them to succeed, he has to
believe in chance.
Believe in the just have good faith that the Human Project will be
happen. Yeah,
that tomorrow will come. Naming the ship Tomorrow is like a little heavy-handed, but I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
Those are like ships' names, though. They're really like
right?
hammy like that.
And it fits perfectly, just symbolically, like we don't know if tomorrow will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Key water breaks.
Yeah.
It breaks right there on the bus.
Right on the bus.
And as she's going through this, she's getting louder.
Yeah.
And you start to hear like the outside bus, and this like punk music comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to feel real crazy. People are like being thrown around. People are like on their knees with bags over their head. You're just seeing this whole picture, and they make a stop in this area.
Yeah.
And the fascist pig gets on the bus.
Not Sid, another one.
No, another one. And there's this guy that kind of won't shut up, and he kicks him off the bus. Yeah. And this is his stop. And he goes to approach Key, who is also
kind of making a scene.
Yeah, making a scene. And the only thing that saves her from being thrown off the bus is Miriam.
Yeah, she stands up and starts praying very loudly.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind.
Okay.
Like in whatever religion she practices that isn't welcome by the society they're in.
Yeah.
So she's kicked off.
Yeah, she's hit and she's kicked off.
And we see a bag go over her head.
Yeah, we see a bag over her head, and it's not looking so great.
And then the bus just moves along.
Yeah, it goes on, and now it's just Theo and Key.
Who is in labor.
Yes.
Fully in labor.
Mm-hmm.
They arrive to the camp. We get like the scene of them going through crossing the border.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like the fences and just horrifying imagery.
They get a welcome to paradise.
Yeah. Once they arrive to Brexel at Sea, it's like the Warsaw Ghetto kind of. There's lots of people.
Yeah.
But like lots of life also. People like there's like street vendors and it's much different than the scene at the checkpoint that Miriam was left at.
Mm-hmm.
They find the statue and the Romanian woman who's named Mariska, and
Mariska.
She leads them away, and she has shelter for them.
Yeah. And
once they get inside the room where they're going to be staying, Key is yelling at Theo to get that woman out of here.
Yeah. And she's just babbling. We don't really know what she's saying. There's no subtitles for what anyone in another language is saying. It just says foreign language speaking. I think she was just waiting to get paid.
Yeah.
Because I think he does give her something, and then she does go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So now they've got the room to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And Theo delivers the baby.
Yeah, he does. Pretty successfully. There's so many things that can go wrong during childbirth. I mean, the baby could have came out feet first or something, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's fairly easy.
Well,
I mean, from our standpoint and from Theo's standpoint, but from hers, it's it's terrible.
She's giving birth.
She's giving birth. She's being torn in half. Yes.
Theo yelling at her to push.
Mm-hmm.
Push. She doesn't think she's able to, but she is.
Yeah.
Which is a recurring thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a baby.
And this is great baby animation because a lot of times when they do like a baby's birth, it's like a 6-month-old baby or like a 3-month baby. It's like a big old baby already. But now this one is just like a skinny, covered and placenta baby. That's not moving at first, and then it starts to move. And the way, it's just like really good baby animation. Because I don't think it's a real baby.
It's a baby girl.
Yes.
Yeah, Key had suspected it was a boy back when she wanted to.
I feel like everyone was saying boy because society. We live in a society, right? But it's a girl.
The next day, they're awoken by Sid, who lets them know that a war broke out between the British military and the refugees, who are being led by the fishes.
Yeah.
Also, well, I won't get to that yet. So, yeah, things aren't good. Things were bad, and now they're worse.
Yeah. And
they need to get to a boat.
They need to get to a boat.
That's the mission.
And Sid discovered what happened. Is it because they killed the cops?
Yeah, Sid finds out that there's a bounty on their heads.
Yes.
So he turns.
Yeah.
And he draws a gun on them, tries to capture them. But Mariska comes in clutch with like a club.
Yeah.
And just beats him. And
Pummels him.
They run.
And they run. Yeah, they're able to escape.
But the
barely.
door...
the door doesn't open all the way.
It's like... Because it's like slightly underground or something. There's like a trench where it opens. They can't open the door all the way. They have to squeeze through, which is just another great instance of...
Yeah.
Every single thing in this movie is as hard as it can be.
Yes. And yeah, they barely make it.
Barely make it through. Well, first, Key has to hand Mariska the baby because Mariska goes through first.
Yeah.
And then Key starts yelling, "She took my baby!"
Yeah.
Because you only see outside the sliver from the door that they can open. But then we see that Mariska is right there.
Yeah, she's right there.
And once Key gets through the door, Mariska hands her back the baby.
Yeah.
So, hey, this Mariska, I think we can trust her.
Yeah, I think we can trust her. She's good.
Once she saw that there was the baby, that a baby exists in this world, she realized the weight of the situation.
The tiny opening of the door comes in handy because once Sid does make it to the door and sticks his head out, he's walloped in the face by a typewriter.
It's a car battery.
A car battery.
Yeah.
It sounds very like a fatality in Mortal Kombat or something. Just like the
sound of the skull.
The sound cracking. Of the skull cracking and the tissue and the wetness of it. Yeah. And they're able to leave. Make it out, and Theo's just like, we need a boat, but there's a language barrier there, so he draws it out.
Got a little Pictionary.
Yeah, a little Pictionary. She's like, oh, okay, I can get that.
He gets the triangle for the base of the boat and like the sail, but Mariska still doesn't know what it is. But it's until he does the squiggles for the water. I don't know why I like that, but it's the water squiggles that gets her. It gets them on the same page, and she knows where a boat is. Yeah. She has to lead them through a protest. Yeah. There's this giant rally going on. Huge demonstration. It's a war scene because the protest isn't the government's not too fond of the refugees taking arms. We get shouts of Allahu Akbar. We see the French flag, which I guess there were French refugees in the camp. It's a war zone. It's a war zone. So not very easy to just go and walk to the boat that Mariska knows where it is. Actually, the fishes pop up and they capture Key and the baby. Yeah, and we see Luke again. Wait, because I feel like before that we get a bit of Sanctuary. Where they're with the old couple in the house. Oh, yeah. And the older lady's feeding them oranges. Yes. True. Yeah. So, Mariska takes them to another safe house. Yes. Very nicer by this very old couple. I didn't write that down because when they were eating oranges, I went up and got oranges. And grabbed an orange. I was like, hey, I have oranges. That looks good. Yeah. So they're able to just chill for a bit. And she's able to lay the baby down and really look at her baby. And she's like, I'm going to name my baby Bazooka. She's coming up with terrible names. And Theo's just like, Bazooka? What? I was just starting to like Frowley. Yeah. Bazooka's definitely a worse name than Frowley. Yes. Yeah. And so this man walks in and he's just like, I can get you a boat and we leave in an hour. So they only get an hour of that. And then on their way to the boat, they're captured.
Yeah, they're captured
by the fishes. By Luke, who's now in charge.
Yes. And Patrick, who's still sore about his cousin.
Right. Luke asks Key how the baby is, and Key spits in Luke's face.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Good for her.
But then,
so
they're taken into an apartment.
Yeah. Lucas takes Key
and Baby Bazooka.
And Baby Bazooka. And Mariska, Theo, and the man that was leading them to the boat, they're left behind and are to be executed. Patrick shoots the man that was leading them to the boat.
Right in front of them.
Right in front of them. And I guess he's going to shoot Mariska next, but then all hell breaks loose.
Then the military comes.
Yeah, the military's here.
So Patrick gets distracted. He's got to go shoot at the soldiers.
Yeah, they all have to like take cover and run away.
So Theo gets up and runs, and he was able to see that Luke led Key and the baby into an apartment building. So Theo, his new goal is to get to the apartment building to release Key.
Yeah.
Getting into the apartment building isn't very easy. This is where the movie
really picks up.
It's like this is what 1917 wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like very obviously, like they have, it's a very singular goal.
Yeah.
But
they took this and made it the whole movie.
Yeah. Which is why I don't think it worked too well, because it didn't have we don't need to get into the whole 1917.
Yeah.
That movie didn't even win.
But yeah, it's a beautiful, chaotic one take.
Yeah, very long
take shot of him just like dodging bullets and bullets flying and people getting hit by stray bullets and blood splattering on the screen,
on the camera.
On the camera.
I love it.
I wonder if that was like purposely done or if that was just like a beautiful mistake where they was just like, no, let it go. Let's do it.
I'm sure it was meant to intentional. I don't think Cuarón makes mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some good ones. That would be a good mistake if some blood got on the screen. It's also a good intentional decision. Yeah, it's also I really guess we don't know, perfect.
But to just have blood on the lens is like us, the viewer, our view of the scene is covered in the bloodshed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
He's able to get into the apartment
after they blow it up. I mean, right before he goes in, they drop this giant bomb in there, and it blows up like the first floor lobby. But yeah, he's able to get in.
He's able to get in, and he's able to get to Luke.
Yeah, he follows the sound of a crying baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Luke has a bazooka, not baby bazooka, but a bazooka.
Yeah, real bazooka.
That he's shooting at the forces while talking.
Yeah.
He's doing his villain speech. This is where we get him admitting that his whole philosophy was different than Julian's, and he knows that they couldn't deliver the baby into a peaceful world.
Yeah.
They need to fight.
Yeah. Need to fight for their dignity, for their respect, for their humanity.
Yeah.
Theo's able to get Key away because he's distracted by the military.
Yeah.
And he shoots at Theo. Well, he shoots at Theo from what we can see.
Yeah, not with the bazooka.
No, with like a machine gun. Yeah. There's also this really nice moment of clarity where he's like, I forgot how beautiful babies were.
Yeah, once I saw it.
Yeah, he broke down and he keeps referring to the baby as a boy, and then Theo's just like, it's a girl.
Yeah, and then Luke's final words before he's shot down is, I had a sister.
Yeah.
Anyway,
on to what I think is the most beautiful moment.
Yeah,
this is where you cry.
This or the very end.
Yeah, this is where you break down because it's they bring back that operatic score.
Yep.
And it's like the world stops. Everyone is just in awe.
Theo's escorting Key out of the building.
Yeah.
And little baby Bazooka, or Frowley, take your pick, is crying.
Yeah.
So you hear the cries of a baby, which is a sound that hadn't been heard in the world for 18 years.
Yeah.
Throws everyone off guard.
Yes.
Everyone stops in their place. Soldiers just standing.
They're looking at the baby. They're
taking down their arms,
grabbing at its feet, and they're yelling "ceasefire!"
It's a fucking baby.
It's a fucking baby, and the war stops for a moment.
If only.
It's so.
If only
it's
that
such
could
a
happen
magical moment
in our reality, where people are like, babies are being hurt by this. Oh shit, we better stop.
We better instead
of like.
Yeah.
Sorry, beautiful moment in the film.
Beautiful moment. Very special moment. And they make it outside. They're able to get past everyone because everyone is so mesmerized, and that's broken away when I want to say the refugees, like, they shoot or they do something to the military, and then I feel like it goes even harder. Like, now they're going even harder. There's bombs and guns, and it's just like more chaotic.
Under fire. Yeah.
Yes.
So kind of all those people we just saw in the building,
are being blown up.
Like,
and
oh my
shot.
god, there's hope in the world. Are immediately killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. They managed to meet back up with Mariska.
Yes.
Thank God. Who leads them to the boat. I love Theo asks Key, how is she about the baby, and Key says she's annoyed.
She's annoyed, yeah.
Which is just really good comic relief.
Yeah.
Why wasn't this actress
in more?
Yeah. What the fuck?
I know, right? I was looking on her letterbox, and the only recent thing that she was in that she actually starred in was 7 Seconds with Regina King. Yeah, that was like the last thing. That was 2018. Maybe she does more British television
or theater. Maybe.
Yeah, or theater. Or she's really good.
And there's just a bias against people that look like her working professionally as actors.
That too.
Yeah. Anyway, Mariska leads them to the boat.
Yeah. But she doesn't
get in the boat, but Mariska does not.
Yeah. And it just...
Theo really wants her to join them.
He really wants to, And it makes sense why.
Yeah.
But yeah, they row off. They row off, and it's just them two out there.
Yeah, and we get the shot of the sea with the fog, and the boat emerges through the fog.
It's in the water. It's in the fog.
It's goddamn beautiful.
There's no clarity. You can't see anything. They're out there just hoping.
Yeah.
That this boat's gonna show up. They get to the buoy.
Eventually, they see the buoy, which was the meeting point.
And Key thinks that she's bleeding.
Well, before that, the baby's having a hard time, so Theo walks Key through burping the baby.
Okay.
And that's when... Oh, no, I guess before that.
Yeah, before that, right?
Before that, Key notices blood on the bottom of the ship and says, oh, fuck, I'm bleeding.
And he's like, no, it's me. I got... Lucas got me. I got hit.
Theo admits that he was shot.
Yeah, he was shot, and it's not doing so well. And the last thing he does is shows her
how to
burp
care
a baby
for the child.
Yeah.
And then she tells him that she's going to name her Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan's a girl's name, too.
After Theo and Julian's
Dylan is
lost son.
the best option out of 3.
And that's the last thing Theo hears before he's...
Yeah, he kind of just leans over. And
it's a good movie death.
Yeah, it's a good movie death, and that's it.
He just leans over, and then because they're on open water, like his body is still rocking back and forth. Yeah, but his head's just down, and he's dead.
And she's out there in the water alone.
And they're late.
Yeah, they were late.
But Theo had said, obviously before he died, Don't worry, they'll be back.
They'll be back. And she's out in the water for a little bit, and it's just like this little moment of uncertainty because you can't see further than them on the boat.
But then we see something emerging.
Yeah.
And Key's still kind of in denial about this guy dying right in front of her.
Yeah.
Is shouting, Theo, it's the boat, Theo.
Yeah.
But no, he's gone by then.
Yeah.
But tomorrow arrives. Tomorrow comes.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing is from the angle of this little rowboat looking up at this giant ship that's coming.
Yeah.
And it cuts to black and
you hear
children laughing and playing.
Yeah.
And holy fuck, that really gets me.
Yeah.
Just
when I think about every character in this movie that died to get her where she had to be like the ultimate sacrifice for humanity, for it to continue, they all had to like die
without any like confirmation.
Yeah, without any confirmation,
won't be in vain.
Yeah, it's really like it's strong. It's really
it's religious.
Like, it's so much faith.
Yeah.
Very powerful. So heavy to think about.
Storytelling and filmmaking. And
yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. The significance of death in this is death in life is like very heavy handed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they use it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a film. I'm not even going to ask. I'm not even asking. I'm not even giving you a chance to fucking call this a movie.
It's a film. It has it's so the texture, the nuance, the depth, everything about it. Just what he brought to this picture as a director. You know what I mean? Just bringing his style and his eye and his way of commenting on society, you know what I mean, into this fictional world
that feels so real.
Well,
mostly because it's very close.
It's science
to our
fiction,
world.
but it's not fantasy. You know,
right? Well,
yeah. I mean, but not like
it doesn't play like fantasy.
Yeah, it doesn't play. It's not fantastical. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And like weirdly underrated.
Yeah.
People should be talking about Children of Men all the fucking time, shouldn't they?
They should. Just like, yeah. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm amazed by
it.
By
it does
director.
everything you want a great piece of art to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just comments on everything.
Yeah.
And just makes a very compelling case for humanity to push forward despite all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Of which there is plenty.
Yeah. I'm glad this movie ended on a happy note because you needed that relief.
It's happy but still very open-ended.
Yeah. But
I guess the
knowing
sound of the children is confirmation, kind of, that.
Yeah, children will come back to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully in a better society, because even if children come back in that world, they're fucked.
Just that our main guy, that Theo, dies before he gets confirmation that tomorrow comes. Like, he's still out just on the open sea, and that's very symbolic in itself. And all that work that he put in to the very end doesn't even... But by that point, he's telling Key, it'll come.
It'll come.
He has faith. His faith, we watch this man's faith be restored.
Yeah. Right.
And cured of his alcoholism. If only because he's dead and can't drink anymore.
Can't drink. Can't drink. No liquor in hell.
But, such a compelling character. And it's... It's film.
It's a film. Children of Men.
I love the way that it's not, like, we talk about all the stuff that it's about, but it's not about that. It's about a guy trying to get this woman to the boat.
Yeah.
But then the world is just so fully realized and textured that it has all this, so much else to offer.
Mm-hmm. And an impeccable cast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like peak Clive Owen.
Yeah, the best Clive Owen I've seen. That's it. That's Children of Men.
That's it.
How are we raising the stakes next week?
How can it get bigger than that?
Here's my hint. Our hero of next week's picture, much like Theo, wears a long coat.
Okay.
And I think the stakes are higher somehow.
Okay.
We'll get some more religious imagery next week as well. I'll say that too.
Yes, we will.
Submit your guesses to us at MovieFilmPod on all the socials. MovieFilmPod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And tune in next week to Movie Film.
All hell the clit. All hell the clit. All hell the clit. All hell the clit. All hell the clit.